Welcome again to our series that's all about intuition and that we're playing with, especially in the venue of Reiki and using Reiki and some other kind of energy medicine tools that might help you on your own personal journey. So hopefully this video will give you some tidbits. And I want to share a bit about my own story as a boy. When I was like 14 years old, they discovered that I had cataracts on both of my eyes, and subsequently did a surgery on one of my eyes soon afterwards. And that's how I lost my vision, actually, was through a surgical procedure. And of course, those surgeries today are, using laser surgeries, and they're, people do really, really well. But unfortunately, I lost the vision in my eye, and that in itself is kind of a metaphor, because it kind of took me more inside, and listening deeply, and that's what intuition's really all about, is kind of listening outside of the clutter or the chatter that's going on. If you think about the story of Yeshui and the woman, Mrs. Takata, who brought Reiki to the West. Takata actually used her intuition to get off of a surgical table when she had an ailment while she was in Japan, and she heard a voice telling her she was not supposed to do this, and ended up going to a Reiki clinic and doing some treatments, and finally was healed. So Takata, my story, your story. Each of us is informed by our intuition, and what we do with it and how we cultivate it is really some of the work that we want to do in our Reiki class, in this Reiki Level 2 class. In my story, picking up where I left off, what happened was, the cataract on my right eye continued to grow, and so it would limit my vision. But then I started some of my healing work. So we have here our lovely little, we call him Service Bunny, and Service Bunny oftentimes gets to sit in and be a part of things. And I want to teach you about a technique that we're going to use that actually helped me with sustaining my vision for all these years, without the cataract actually taking complete control and losing my vision or losing my sight. And one of those techniques that we'll have Service Bunny kind of play in was simply what we call a Gestalt healing technique. And I learned it from a man named Dr. Mel, and Dr. Mel was a Native American practitioner and a physician, and he taught us this simple little technique that I'm sharing with you, and that we'll do in our work together. And this Gestalt healing technique, it's simply taking something and imagining that it becomes alive and able to speak with you. So in my case, what I did was I imagined, here I am many years later with Dr. Mel, but imagining what would my cataracts say to me. So if I need something to actually see, I could use Service Bunny and imagine Service Bunny as kind of holding the space for my cataracts to speak for them. And the process is simply asking, my cataracts, in which Service Bunny at the moment will kind of sit in for, but asking my cataracts to actually speak to me and tell me what are you doing here? And how are you serving me? And when I did all of that work, I had a kind of a surprising revelation that the story of my cataracts and came to me when I was a boy and had experienced some abuse. And what I learned in using kind of like service bunny, or you can just use your imagination. So in imagining, what would your ailment say to you? So my cataracts really said to me, the world was not safe for me to see. And so that's why my cataracts appeared. So that was kind of the metaphysical version of what I heard and understood. And that has been so helpful to me, in all these years. And recently, in the past year, I thought I was going to lose my vision again. And continue to do my healing work and see my physician. And they came up with a drop that actually lowered the pressure in my eye. But I think it's also because of the work, the inner work that I've done, that has sustained my ability to be able to see, even with this cataract that has been on my eye for all these years. So safety. So my story was about safety, and the world was not safe during a segment of time when I was a little kid, and it is safe now. So in my work, when my vision starts to get hazy, part of what I do is actually check in with myself and remind myself that the world is safe. And when we feel safe, we feel less stressed. When we feel less stressed, then all of the kind of physiological components that cause the increased pressure in my eye are subsiding, thus allowing me to see. So I share this kind of vulnerable story with you to say that techniques like a Gestalt healing techniques like Reiki, and listening to your intuition for guidance around healing can be really beneficial no matter what stage you are in relationship to an ailment, a disease, a pain, or a struggle. So that's some of the wisdom that I just want to seed for you, that we're going to play with more deeply in our class together of Reiki Level 2 and Body Story Work. So thank you and namaste.